We're going to get this workout started. 2 sets of the adductor machine. This is a great way to warm up the legs. So we're going to get right into it. Not too heavy yet, since this is a newer exercise for me. But we're going to get good range of motion, also known as the good girl machine.
This machine is great for hitting the adductors, which actually play a really important role in your squats. It's going to help you out of the hole and stand all the way up if you are back squatting or hack squatting or any type of squat. This movement is a new exercise for me. I only started doing it about 4 weeks ago, so I'm still keeping these pretty light and pretty slow. But eventually the goal is to be doing these heavy just like anything else and using progressive overload over time and see how that transfers over to my squatting movements.
Nice controlled negatives every rep. Don't want to be ego lifting, especially on these. But 2 sets done, feeling nice and warm, ready to get into the hack squats. All right, time to get after some hack squats. We've got 235 here, a little intimidating, but you know, it's good that it's a machine, easier to bail out if anything should happen. Getting set. Oh, Jesus Christ. Try not to use profanity, but I can't make any promises with this exercise.
The hack squat is a fantastic exercise because I can really bias my quads. The stability and setup of this machine makes it possible for my quads to be the muscle that fails first, which is what we want if we're improving a weaker muscle group or a weaker muscle in a different movement. For me, in my back squats, my quads are what tend to fail first. So by targeting them directly with variations such as the hack squat, I'm going to be able to squat more weight in the future when I go back to traditional barbell squats. This machine also takes a little bit of the stress off of my back because my back is secured against the pads. So when recovering from a back injury, this is absolutely the way to go. And this is just a brutal exercise if you're doing it right and using the correct intensity. So I 10 out of 10 would recommend a hack squat if you have one.
Nasty fucking bastard. All right, time to get it going. First set, we cleared 8 reps of 235, which was already a PR. So we're just going to slap the 5s on, see where we get to. 5 to 8 rep range. But really, just happy with anything I can get. Enjoying the journey. Jesus Christ, here we go.
Another common misconception that I hear all the time is that free weights are more macho or better than machines. And that's just a silly line of reasoning that I don't really understand, because machines have some unique advantages over free weights, such as the ability to train to failure safely. And I don't know about you, but I don't think there's anything that's a lot more macho than safely training to failure. This hack squat here, this set is going to be to failure. I'm actually going to fail on my last rep that I attempt. And training to failure is a great way to break past plateaus, but you have to make sure you're managing your volume. And if you're training with a high volume program in general, you probably shouldn't take every single set to failure. But in lower volume programs, and as long as your recovery is on point, it can be safe to take exercises to failure as long as you are safely failing. Now, I wouldn't recommend taking a traditional barbell back squat to failure all the time, but the hack squat, again, this is an advantage we can get with this machine and setup, because when we hit failure, I'm simply able to go all the way down and climb out of the machine safely.
Seated leg curls, absolute bastard of an exercise. Gonna go with 120 here. This is 5 pounds up from last week, working in the 6 to 10 rep range, and we're wanting to keep these reps nice and strict. Good form. Here we go.
The seated leg curl is another great machine exercise, and it's important not to skip your leg curls. The reason for this is because the hamstring crosses both the knee and the hip joint, and we train our hinges for our hamstrings, such as our RDLs and our deadlifts, but if you're not training some sort of leg curling movement, you're missing out on a lot of gains, because the other function of the hamstrings, other than to extend the hips, is to bring your heels to your bum or curl in like that. So don't be skipping your leg curls and don't be missing out on your gains.
Good set. You know what to do. Maxed out the set. You're going to increase by 5 pounds for the next set.
Now we've got some quad biased leg presses. You can tell that these are quad biased because my heels are at the bottom of the leg press pad. If they were at the top or wider, this would be a bit more glute biased. Now obviously the glutes are going to get some work from this movement, but my foot placement is meaning that I'm going to work on biasing the quads a little bit more. Additionally, something to notice here is the seat as well. This leg press has an adjustable seat, and the more upright the seat is, the more the quads are going to get worked, and the more of a, I guess, obtuse angle that the seat is going to bias the glutes a bit more. So trying to get as much as we can out of the quads here, controlling negatives, and making sure we're not ego lifting. A lot of people really like to ego lift on the leg press, but if you're doing that, again, you're just leaving gains on the table. Nobody who's quarter repping 1,000 pounds on the leg press has really big quads, I promise you. So get a full range of motion and drop the weight if need be, and watch your quads grow.
Time to get some calf presses. Can't be skipping calves. So I'm going to go ahead and scoot these up. Load this up. Got 125 pounds this week. So let's get into it. These are real important for rugby because lots of running, so we're going to be landing on our legs a lot, as well as building up the tibias and fib muscles. So let's get it. Okay. Some position there. 10 to 12 reps here. Full stretch. Yeah.
In my typical training week, I like to train the calves with one variation with straight legs, such as this, or a standard calf raise would also suffice. Calf raise on the leg press would also work. And I also like to train the calves in the seated position, so that would be the seated calf raise. So one of my leg days will have a straight leg calf raise, and the other one will have a seated calf raise, and then I'm making sure to check all my boxes there.
Oh. Jesus Christ, my legs are shaking. Rope cable crunches. I used to skip abs, thinking just squats and deadlifts would develop them as much as they needed to be, but I've learned my lesson ever since. So we're going to do some ab work here. 125 pounds. Getting it down is the hardest part. There we go.
Rope cable crunches are a fantastic ab movement, and with this movement, keep in mind everyone's form is going to look a little bit different, and the biggest objective here is to really contract your abs and feel it. So as long as you're able to contract your abs and sort of get that stretch and contraction, your abs are certainly going to grow. Doesn't matter if you're bulking, cutting, or at maintenance, do train your abs because they're a muscle and they can grow no matter what.
Solid set.